waiting in the wings, preparing for Tyson Fury?
I haven't even thought about that. I mean, he's contracted to fight Deontay Wilder. That's his contractual obligation. He wants to fulfil that, but he's not prepared to wait till next year for it.
Is there anyone else you have in mind? Like, for example, would you try and move your own stable around, like postpone Joyce Dubois and get Dubois in there?
Daniel Dubois and Tyson is not going to happen this year.
Okay.
That's not going to happen.
And obviously,
those are the words of Frank Warren. Now, Frank Warren did say what the contractual agreement is. As we already know, Tyson Fury, he is contracted, okay, to fight Deontay Wilder. However, he's not trying to wait until next year to do it. He wants to do it this year, but he's not waiting. Now, as far as Frank Warren, he says he hasn't even thought about a replacement. Okay, so it's not going to be Daniel Dubois. But why would it be Daniel Dubois? Daniel Dubois is the new kid on the block. Tyson Fury's at the top of the hill. Okay, so no. Daniel Dubois is climbing. You know, why would he want to put him in there right now? Daniel Dubois still needs some more climbing to do before getting to that particular level. However, it ain't going to be him. So, what I'm hearing, okay, from Frank Warren, what we've heard from Bob Arum, now it's linking together. It looks like they're, Bob Arum, hey, we want to wait to the crowd, so let's wait till next year. Frank Warren is like, no, we're not waiting till next year. So I'm thinking like, okay, what if Bob Arum gets his way? What if he tries to force the hand to push this fight further, and Tyson Fury's already saying, I'm not waiting until 2021 to fight this guy, right? I'm not doing that. And I know these channels, because I've read it, it's been going around, but you know, these guys, pro Wilder channels, of course, and they're like, hey, Tyson's ducking, Tyson's getting out, Tyson's dropping out, Tyson's refusing. No, Tyson's not saying that. Tyson is just not going to fight next year because he's not going to have something that stretches that long a time from something that already supposed to happen, okay? Now, first off, I don't think Tyson Fury is ducking or dropping out of anything. I don't think that's what it is. Because as far as I'm concerned, I think a lot of those fans of Wilder, so-called fans of Wilder, didn't want to see that third fight happen. Okay, that's why they were bringing up all those accusations against Fury, because they were trying to discredit him, disbar him, you know, and stop him from fighting Deontay Wilder. Now, the whole thing has changed. Oh, Fury's getting out. He's dropping out. Right? But that's not what he's saying. We haven't heard anything from Deontay Wilder, and I think that's what we need to hear first. But according to Frank Warren, again, Tyson Fury's not trying to wait until next year. But you have to understand why, okay? It has nothing to do with a crowd, no. It has everything to do with his WBC obligations. Like a lot of these channels are missing the big picture. The WBC mandatory is on the line. That mandatory fight must happen by that time. So why the hell would he wait for Deontay Wilder to push that back, and Wilder wants to get that spot? And I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. They're afraid that Tyson Fury messes around and fights Dillian Whyte and he loses. And if he does lose, okay, they're going to have to deal with Matchroom with Dillian Whyte once again. So then everything will come full circle, right? Tyson Fury won't get a rematch with Dillian Whyte. That ain't going to work that way. It's a mandatory. Okay, so that's what the problem is. So Bob Arum is trying to have his way by pushing because he's worried about the money. Frank Warren is going along with Tyson Fury and really enforcing basically what Tyson Fury's already said. He's doing his job, right? And we haven't heard anything from Wilder except from Shelley Finkel. And that's been 2 months ago, well, last month. So we don't really know what's going on, Okay. Now we could assume, but we just know it's not going to be Daniel Dubois. Okay. And Tyson Fury says he doesn't want to, but then in what extent? What if he doesn't get his way? Will he drop out? Okay, so before we jump to conclusions and say, oh, well, Tyson Fury's dropping out, he's trying to get out, I know what he's trying to do, and all these people are saying that, we don't know. Okay, but if he does drop off, it ain't the first time he's done that. He did the same thing last year. Right, but it was for another reason. But the reasons for Tyson Fury dropping out of these negotiations, right, are valid. Because if you were Tyson Fury, what would you do? Lose your WBC belt to fight Wilder because you have, and then what would they be fighting for? The Ring Magazine belt? Deontay Wilder already said, I don't give a shit about none of that. I don't give a shit about a lineal title either. You can have them both back when I beat you. The only problem is he didn't win, right? So we'll never know if he would have gave them back. But that's the only thing that they will be fighting for, because the WBC belt, the WBC at that point should strip Tyson Fury. That's the rules. That's how it should be. And it's shitty for Tyson Fury. So if I'm Tyson Fury, yes, the most logical thing to do, okay, don't drop out of the fight, but negotiate the Dillian White fight because you have to. Get that fight out of the way, beat Dillian White. And if I'm Deontay Wilder, maybe if I didn't want to fight White, hope Tyson Fury wins. Root for Tyson Fury so you can get your rematch or by your contractual agreement, right? And it doesn't have to be right away. Okay, so it doesn't really have to be that unless Tyson Fury decides I'm going to quit. And he ain't going to quit. He ain't going to retire. He want that AJ money, the real, like that big mega bucks. He knows what it means, right? So that's where we're at right now. I think people should just, my counterpunch, people should just calm down. Frank Warren is saying what his fighter doesn't want. But did he say to what extent? To what price? Okay, so what would be the result of him not getting his way? Okay, well, he should be stripped by February if they do fight in February. And if the fight doesn't happen this year, what will Tyson Fury do? But it's all up to Tyson, actually. And Tyson Fury's ready to fight. You know what I mean? He's ready to fight. The dude trains all the time. And you have to understand the wear and tear with a fighter that goes into training camp and then had the coronavirus and all that. My question is, did they know that Deontay Wilder was having surgery? See, right now, Deontay Wilder is probably just now starting training camp, okay, because of the surgery that he had on his bicep, his right bicep. So then it's kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And now the greedy promoters are trying to say, okay, well, hey, we want it, or I want it, says Bob Arum, next year. So we have a lot of factors that we have to deal with, but it's ultimately up to Tyson Fury. So let's see and hear and wait for what Tyson Fury has to say. But anyway, that's my counterpunch on that, guys. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.